70 welcomes you to Broadview, a weekly radio show that looks into the issues here in Northern Nevada. Hot topics of the week, a senior moment or two, and special guests. Phone lines are open now at 823-1920. Here is your host, Jay Davis.
Hello and welcome to Broadview this Saturday. Steve Ause, he'll be here, and he's going to talk about Japan's, what effect it's having on our economy.
Fox News Radio, 1270.
Right now, I'd like to welcome Steve Ause, co-host of Nevada Matters, a financial advisor with his own business in Incline Village. And I know it's been snowing a lot at the lake. Do you guys have a ton of snow up there in Incline Village?
Boy, we sure do. I haven't seen so much. Squaw Valley today said 55 feet of snow. I tell you, I'm tired of snow, and I'm tired of Charlie Sheen. I wish they'd both go to the same place.
Well, you just need to get out of Tahoe and turn the TV off.
I know.
So let's talk about the economic situation right now. I'm kind of worried about some of the things going on with the nuclear plant in Japan and the tsunami and the earthquake. What do you see as the economic impact that situation is causing from Japan?
Well, before we talk about economics, perhaps, the financial story probably pales in comparison to the loss of human life, the property damage, the turmoil. Gosh, how could it be worse? Massive earthquake, huge tsunami, nuclear radiation, and contamination.
Yeah.
According to CNN, a death toll is over 10,000 and still 17,000 missing. But you know, you got to admire the culture. No looting, they say. Discipline and patience, the third largest economy. It might be because of their work ethic and their values. Many in Tokyo go to work every day to a shaking building. There were 5 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or above the other day.
Well, and I guess they're pretty prepared for it all. They're used to it. It's like a daily thing. Their subways shake and they go, oh, okay.
I know. It drives me crazy, though. Those folks that are laying cable with 10,000 times usual radiation, they just have a heck of a work ethic there.
That's pretty scary, yeah. But they meditate. They're very spiritual people, so they're going to get through this. I know that.
Well, there was an excellent article in the journal there, and about 9% of the world economic output is from Japan. They are the third largest. They've been recently surpassed by China. The biggest problem will probably be supply chain disruption, which is just a fancy word meaning that you can make a little part, a sensor. There's companies that make automobile sensors in north of Japan, and we have to stop production here of automobiles because we don't have that sensor. I also read that one auto manufacturer in America is no longer going to be delivering their vehicles in black because we can't get the black pigment from Japan. They provide 60% of the world's silicon wafers, so that shows up in memory chips and computer chips. 2 factories are shut down that account for about 25% of the shipments. We have current inventory, they say, for now, but it depends on how fast they ramp back up. 90% of the resin used to make PC boards comes from there and LCD displays. And all those folks who are waiting for their iPads, who missed the first day, they were told they have maybe a 3-week delay. But while Apple's been kind of tight-lipped, people have broken open the iPad and noticed 5 components from Japan. So, you know, things like that are how it's going to affect us, I think.
Well, yeah, so many people displaced. So time will tell what's going to happen there. What's happening to their yen? I mean, that's got to be having repercussions around the world.
Well, it is. Some are worried about what's called the repatriation of the Japanese yen, and those are fancy words meaning that they've loaned us nearly $1 trillion, and they need money now, and they may want that back, which could certainly hurt us. And for technical reasons, the value of the yen has actually been increasing, and they've been deflationary. That actually may be one of the few parts of the silver lining of this. This may help them get out of that phase.
Yeah. Well, someone's going to benefit from it. Mm-hmm. Who's that going to be?
Yeah, well, certainly companies like Caterpillar, who makes bulldozers and things, they're going to need lots of stuff to help rebuild. American companies and others are going to look for other sources for these parts so that not everything rests on one country. So I think countries like South Korea and China and others in Asia are going to be sought out and become backup supplies for these sort of things. You know, the Indonesian economy grew slightly after their tsunami, and Chile is stronger now a year later. So, you know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger sometimes.
Yeah, the positives. Well, I'd like to ask you one more question. What do you see as the future for nuclear power now that all this is going on?
Well, it used to have a glowing future, if you pardon the pun.
Yeah.
There's 104 nuclear plants in the U.S., and we had plans to build 29 new ones. Many articles in past years talked about a nuclear renaissance, but we may have a setback. It's been 30 years since a new plant has been approved, and the last one that came online was in 96. In 2005, of course, under Bush, the Energy Policy Act was passed, and it was designed to spur interest in nuclear, especially with concerns on global warming. So tax credits were given for new plants. Sophisticated plant designs are probably better now than those 40-year-old plants in Japan. And they wanted to reactivate yucca for spent fuel. Some people would say, though, we would need 3 or 4 yuccas every year to support all of those spent rods. So there's 30 or 40 tons of spent rods around, but Obama has $36 billion in his budget for 2012 to help finance nuclear, and that whole thing might have to go on the back burner because a lot of people just aren't happy with it.
Well, I sort of see it as now's the time when they're really going to learn from what happened down there, and I think this is going to advance us very quickly, especially if there is some money to do some research and upgrade the things that are going on. They're going to find a new way to cool the rods or something because they're geniuses, and they're going to be at work.
I've read about other technologies that use a different fuel, although kind of a second cousin. 62% of people, according to Gallup, before the accident were in favor of nuclear, and even afterwards it slipped only to 57%. 20% of our energy comes from nuclear. It's reliable. We buy the fuel from Australia, Canada, and U.S. rather than from people that hate us in another part of the world. We can use coal, but that produces a lot of greenhouse gas. Coal has a lot of carbon output. Wind and solar are promising technologies, but not every place has enough wind or sun. Nuclear doesn't take up much land, and liquid natural gas is probably our best alternative now because you can build plants quickly. It gives the best power for a dollar invested. We just don't know if liquid natural gas, which we have a lot of now, what that might do to the prices going forward. So nuclear is more stable, but we have to move away from burying our nuclear waste to reprocessing it and look to new technologies. And we have to stop sending billions of dollars, oil dollars, to people that hate us in other countries.
Yeah, I think that's a whole new show. Thank you so much, Steve.
Nice talking to you,
Appreciate your information.